to the show.
For those of us who don't know you, I know who you are. Let the people know.
Derrick Sumiel is my name. You know, grew up in Richmond County. Longtime best friend here across this table.
Right.
Like a way back, you know. Just came back from Colorado, back in Virginia to stay. So glad to be a part of this show here.
I'm glad to have you finally. Like originally when I was thinking about people to have, I really wanted to have you on here, like as one of the core panels when we started out. But for obvious reasons that wasn't possible. I think Brandon was one of the ones as well. Brandon, you, KJ, Kermit. I still don't think you guys ever met before. But
track season, I think.
Oh, you did? Yeah, because he ran for Essex. But I was really interested in that. So, but recently, so aside from the song, like the song that you made for us for the intro is fire. Anyhow, but
Oh, so that was you that made the song too. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what about your new music coming out? Because I know you had sent me a few tracks to preview, and I liked what I heard. So what's going on with that?
Man, I had to start over from square one. After you sent me my the reviews and everything, I gotta go back and do some editing and shit. Trying to make this, you know, spot on as good as I can get it with my budget right now.
Right.
Content wise, I think it's okay, but quality wise and the recording techniques I use, I think I'm gonna go back and redo that. Appreciate that too.
Oh, absolutely. I love supporting and hearing new music, especially from quality artists. You know how we had a previous discussion about just people just putting music out for the sake of doing it. And you might not necessarily rock with it, but it's not the case.
Yeah.
So you got like a time frame for it? Like, do you think you have another project out this year?
No.
You don't think it's this year?
Man, I probably end up just like putting out songs here and there, but as far as like a, you know, complete project, not by the end of this year.
Okay.
Sadly.
And
I thought I would have, honestly.
And so there was something I had saw on Facebook. I don't know the guy, but you guys are collaborating on a podcast similar to this?
Yeah, it's called...
Tell me about that.
Blunt Talk. You know, because that's my boy from Colorado. I ain't gonna say no names or nothing, but that's, you know, that's what I'm rocking with. But yeah, so it's called Blunt Talk. It's a play on words because we're gonna, of course, get stoned as shit, and then we're gonna also, it's gonna be like, it's no boundaries on there. It's gonna be like a whole lot of politic talking. Pretty much our goal is to use common sense to offend as many people as possible, if that makes sense. Because it's a lot of dumb people, you know.
So why is that your goal?
Because I mean, I feel like the only way to get through to people with common sense is if you come at them rude with it and you hammer it at them hardcore. And if they, you know, if you get them in their feelings about a situation, I guarantee they won't forget it. That's how I feel.
They might not forget it, but you're not gonna convince people.
I'm not trying to convince people.
I'm
trying to school people. I ain't trying to convince nobody nothing.
So you just want to embarrass some people?
Not necessarily embarrass people, but I'm gonna call a spade for a spade. Like, for example, with Democrats and Republicans, it's bipartisan, you know,
right,
thing they got going on. Both parties, you know, they have their good points and their bad points, but for some reason you have so many people trying to convince you that this party is the go-to because this point is better than that one. But in all reality, why even participate with that system to begin with? You know what I mean? Why are we restricting ourselves to two main parties or two main candidates when there's so much more different people out there, so many more different parties? Like, it's a Veterans Party of America or some shit like that. I never even heard of it, but it exists. They actually have like representatives and shit. Yeah.
And just the whole idea of having like a two-party system, like, of course that's what we have. It's established. We can't really do anything about it unless we add more parties to it, but that'll take a long time. But the thing about a bi-party system is that it's so easy to like polarize things because you're either this or that. So it's very easy for people to forget that this is a grayscale spectrum. It's not black and white. There's other things in between, and it's so easy to get lost in that and just say that, okay, well, it's all going to come down to, even think about how people voted in the last election. It came down to like the lesser of two evils.
Yeah,
two evils.
Exactly.
There were more than two people on that ballot.
Why are we limiting ourselves to that? You know what I mean? But me and you having this conversation right now, we'll probably remember it because, you know, we ain't like everybody else.
Right.
But my question is, if you was having this conversation with like somebody that's stuck in them type of, you know, they limit themselves to that, how much of it is they gonna remember, or how much are they gonna actually listen to and take to heart when they so dedicated to that party? that's why we created the blunt talk. That's the point behind it.
So I think the majority of people who I've spoken to, they feel similarly to once I articulate my stance on the whole system or that particular issue, they typically agree. So what I'm sensing is that there's a very vocal minority of people on either side, and they're the ones making the most noise. Most people have common sense, and that's just the fact that they aren't participating or being vocal about where they stand on issues. And then it comes down to the time where you get high enough for the presidential elections, you have one or two options. Versus if you had started being more active and participating at the lower levels, then there's more variety. You have more influence on the governor than you do the president. Way more influence.
Yeah, true.
Well, yeah, welcome to the show, man.
Appreciate it.
But welcome back to the Infusion Breakdown Show. As always, it's your boy Joshua Freeman. To my left, I got Mr. Brian Carey. Of course, we got special guest Derrick. Of course, he's the one that did the song for us. Nice song. Huh?
Appreciate it, bro.
He's the ones that welcomes you every week.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the show. But the first topic I want to get into today is the ASAP Rocky situation. As you guys know, he was arrested in Sweden. And now it seems like there's a lack of empathy from some. So the question I want to basically ask is, should celebrities and high-profile people feel obligated to be activists? So I don't know what you guys think about that.
I was kind of on the fence to that when I first thought about it. Mm-hmm. Like, because some artists, they put themselves in that position. Like, before, I don't think ASAP Rocky did, but some artists, they'll be in front of people talking, trying to make a standpoint, whether it's political or whatever it is. And they just put themselves in that position to be held to a higher standard. But like I said, I don't think he did. But at the same time, if he's the one sitting in his cell, making that little petition thing, which I don't think he is. I think it's like a fan made something. Then, after what he said, I'm just like, I wouldn't sign that shit. I mean, I respect you. You can do what you want, do what you please. I'm not gonna hold it against you, but if you don't give a fuck about me, I'm a common person, then, why would I just sign a person?
ASAP Rocky said he was an activist himself?
No.
See, that's the point you made. Yeah. I really like that. You noted the fact that he never wanted to be an activist. Yeah. Even though the way he may have gone about it, I don't necessarily agree about that. I think that was a little bit ignorant.
Yeah.
Like particularly like his interview where he clarified his original comments in 2016 on the Breakfast Club. That interview, when he was talking about Ferguson, he was saying he doesn't care about stuff like that. Kind of like the Young Thug interview where they asked him, should rappers speak on issues? You remember that?
Yeah.
And he said, nah, he's iced up. He's getting money. That's all he cared about.
Exactly.
Yeah. So at the same time, I do feel it's ignorant, but also they didn't sign up for it. They never tried to pretend they were activists or anything like that. They never accepted that responsibility. So why would we hold them accountable to that standard?
Man, I don't know, bro. Like, I was thinking about that like a couple days ago, actually. I'm really on the fence about that because it's too much going on nowadays with people of color. Like, a whole lot of people ain't got our backs. We have to have each other's back, but at the same time, that's why I was on the fence about it. Like, if you just put yourself way outside of your people, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like,
it's not really about when they see it that way. It's not about him being an activist. It's really about him being a role model and him being black in general. So that's what.
But at the same time, he deferred from that.
Being a role model.
Yeah.
You sure? I feel like he.
I mean, during that interview, he essentially what I got from it was he was denying any responsibility from that. That's not what he was concerned about.
I was talking about in general, like as far as him being a role model in general. It's okay. I
you look up ASAP Rocky?
Yeah, I know. Look at ASAP Rocky.
Get out of here.
Wait, you said, do you
look up to him?
Oh, do I look up to him? I think you said, have I looked him up? I was like, wait. Yeah, I looked him up. What are you talking about?
No, do you look up to ASAP Rocky?
No, I don't look up to ASAP Rocky. No.
Would you want your nephew? You have a nephew, right? I know you have nieces.
Yeah.
Would you want your nephew? You want the PlayStation 4 for him?
I believe one of my nephews do look up to ASAP Rocky though.
Why? What do they admire about him?
Clothing fashion.
He
has fashion. He raps like any other rapper, and anybody look up to a rapper who raps about what ASAP Rocky raps about, getting bitches and smoking weed and dealing drugs and stuff like that. So and violence. So it's not hard to really look up to him as a black youth anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't feel that way?
And that's the sad part. I don't think he realized that.
I don't think that I think there are better role models to look at than that. Not saying not saying I don't understand people like the youth why they do that, like why they choose to identify with rappers and people like that, but there's better role models than that. So
yeah, I'm just saying though, there's still role models. Those people who even say like, I mean, I'm getting money because that's what they look up to. Because they're getting money. That's what society is. That's what it's about, getting money. So it's okay. They getting money. They trying to they getting out of the hood. They got those bitches with and they got the chains and everything like that. So that's what they look up to. So you said it was right. I mean, you can't really choose who you want to look up to. I mean,
you see, you can't choose who you look up to.
As far as your child, who your child looks up to, or who another kid looks up to.
Because kids are impressionable, but at the same time, I still stand by my point where I think there's better role models, and I don't think that everybody is supposed to. I don't think everybody's cut out to be a role model either.
But yeah, everybody not cut out to be one. But like you was saying, you can't really control Like you were saying, I was a big fan of Lil Wayne when I was little.
Right.
And the crazy shit he used to talk about was off the wall. Like, I can't really put my finger on why I looked up to him so much. I just liked his music. And I wasn't doing none of the things that he said even, you know?
Mm-hmm. And, but, I mean, name someone who's, like, done something crazier than A$AP Rocky has done. You'll find a kid who still looks up to that individual for some reason, basically. So, I mean, whether it's right or wrong is really up to the person.
There's probably better role models than them, too, but...
Yeah.
I think the best role models are going to obviously come from the people that put themselves out there. Like, hey, I'm going to be a role model, so I'm going to stand for this.
People who accept the responsibility and hold themselves to a higher standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than other people imposing the standard onto them. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Do you guys feel there's a good reason for people not to have any empathy for A$AP Rocky because of the situation? Because of his comments, basically?
Yeah.
I understand it. And I'm kind of conflicted about it at the same time, because also it's implying that his blackness is the core of who he is. Like, of course he's more than that. He doesn't, just because other people are black and you share that, or you share any demographic with people, it doesn't mean you have to necessarily agree with them. So could you still support A$AP Rocky or like him, and despite him not supporting the Black Lives Matter movement or not caring about Ferguson or any of these other issues, could you do that? Like, that's his right. He has the right not to endorse things or be an advocate or speak up. But at the same time, you also have the right not to support him and speak up on that too. So it's kind of like both sides have very valid points. That's the way I see it.
Because I was looking at the article or whatever about what he said, and he was like, basically, I mean, I never forget it. I've never been to Ferguson, so I mean,
I'm not with that.
I'm not with that, basically. And I saw somebody tweet something. He said, I mean, I've never been to Sweden, so fuck it. I mean,
exactly.
It is what it is. I can't relate, basically.
All it is, the way I see it, is just nail the boots on the other foot.
Based on that alone, that's why I feel like people, I mean, if they ain't got no empathy for it, then it's just the way the cars fall. Because, I mean, he made his comments.
Did you remember in history class, or I'm pretty sure you came across it as well, but the quote about the Holocaust, about first they came for this group, then they came for this group, then they came for the next group, and he said then they came for me, but there was nobody to speak up for me. That, I don't know if it's a poem or what is it? Where's it from?
I don't know. I seen it on Facebook recently. I don't remember it in no book or nothing like that. It might have been.
But it's all about, I feel like we're not necessarily obligated to, but I feel like if we don't speak up for each other and don't support each other, then no one's going to support you. It's a reciprocal thing, completely reciprocal. Kind of like even like with starting up something like this. Like, how can I expect somebody to support me if I don't support them? So you have to be about 100%. You have to go out there and put yourself in the situations and empathize with other people and see what else is going on. Otherwise, you can't expect them. You can't hold them to the same standard. You don't even meet the criteria for yourself.
Right.
But you said you were a Lil Wayne fan, which I know that, obviously. You was growing up. But do you remember what he said about Uncle Bob and Black Lives Matter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, no. Coming from him, it wasn't really weird. It made sense. Because Uncle Bob was the cop that saved him when he shot himself when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm. So he was taking one isolated incident.
Yeah. And it's kind of like he closed his eyes to everything that's going on around him. But, I mean, I guess when you put in a life or death situation like that, you know, you got a bullet in yourself, you're a kid, and then this white cop come in and he help you. how else you supposed to feel about it, you know?
He said the black cop stepped over him or something like that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that part.
And even then, so my favorite rapper, Kevin Gates, of course, you was just jamming to him earlier.
Yeah.
So he had made some comments as well because they had interviewed him and they was talking about like Black Lives Matter, and he was saying he has a unique perspective on it. He was saying anytime that he has faced police brutality, it was on his part. So it was something that he had done to be ignorant and belligerent, and then they whooped his ass. But he said he started conducting himself differently, and he got different results. So not saying that that's going to work for everybody, but he was saying he definitely, the demeanor and the way he was carrying himself back then, it definitely wasn't helping the situation. So he changed what he could, which was his attitude and how he interacted with the police, and it improved. And he caught a lot of slack for that as well.
See, man, that's why I gotta get off Facebook. It's nothing but negativity. I be watching these. I follow this page called what is it? Police the Police, and I just watch these videos of police doing, and it's not just the black people. Like, they out of control, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
I remember you shared one.
I share a lot of them.
You shared the one with the boy crawling on the floor and the cop shot him, the white boy?
Yeah.
You ever see that video? Can you describe it? Because I don't want to get it wrong.
So they were in this hotel, and I don't know what was going on, but at the end of the video, it was this white dude crawling on the ground.
The police told him to crawl.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was like a raid. It was like a lot of cops in there for some reason. I can't remember what it was. But they shot that dude, like, boom, right in his face.
Multiple times.
And then there was this one where they shot this pregnant woman. She was out there like flipping out because they telling her to get on the ground. She was like, I can't, my baby, my baby. And they ended up shooting her in her stomach, killed her baby. And
I saw that video.
And then they ended up trying to charge her for the death of her baby because apparently she put herself in that position. I don't know what happened at the beginning of the video. I mean, at the beginning of the situation, I don't know what happened,
but I don't think it should escalate to that point.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because she wasn't that much of a threat.
See, that's where I'm on the fence about that whole thing. Like, yeah, cops are good if you conduct yourself right, blah, 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 to some people. But it's these 1 and 2 incidents that be happening all across the country and stuff, and you can't ignore it because one body is one too many, you know? Like, a death is a death. That person got a family, so you can't, I don't think it's fair to judge it and be like, well, it's just one bad cop here that shot this person. I'm like, it don't matter. That's one too many. You know what I mean? But I don't know. They think otherwise.
Plus, with the implications of how history has been with the cops, it's kind of hard to tell somebody to conduct themselves differently.
Right.
And especially if it's a situation, because I saw a movie, I saw a video where a guy was literally on his lawn with his dog and with his wife and everything, just on his lawn. The police rolled up.
In his backyard?
No, in the front yard, like right in the front. And the police rolled up to his house and was like, hey, we got a warrant out for you in Louisiana. Meanwhile, this is another state. He was like, what are you talking about? I've never been to Louisiana. He was like, yeah, is this you? He had just random black guy with dreads. He was like, no, that's not me. What are you talking about? He tried to put him in cuffs and everything. It was wild, but it's hard to think that and be like, wait. I mean, I can conduct myself well and like you can take me to jail. We go get it straightened out. But this is really ridiculous.
Right.
That you just roll up to my house and just think like, how would you feel? Somebody just roll up in, hey, we got a warrant for you in West Virginia. Come on, let's go. Like, what are you talking about?
Man, that shit get people evicted too. Like,
so I mean, so it's just hard with the implications. But I mean, of course, all cops aren't like that. I mean, this is a bad select few in any job you go across, but
not in any profession.
Not in any.
You remember, you made a post about that. Remember?
What?
About some professions, you can't have a margin for error. Chris Rock also said it too. I refer to him a lot because he says a lot of like real shit in his stand up.
Well, yeah.
He was saying like
law enforcement. That should be
a few bad like pilots.
True.
It's real consequences behind that. I've never heard of a bad pilot. Like they have. They're extremely regulated and they're held accountable for anything. Like if they crash the plane, they check.
Yeah, but some jobs come with more stress than other jobs, though. I mean, pilot is not as stressful as being a cop. You know what I mean? So it's a little different in that take.
You know, I seen this one meme, and it perfectly describes some shit that I can't really I can't wrap my head around it. So civilians, they can have a gun pointed in their face and they have to remain calm and be quiet, right? Let that be a trained professional with the gun in their face and they fearing for their life and they shooting.
So the same situation is a different person.
Yeah, but one is trained for that type of thing, law enforcement, and then you have random civilians who, of course, they're gonna panic, which get them in trouble a lot of the time.
Well, part of that training is really part of it is shooting to kill. One, two is any hostile action you need to protect yourself, so you're gonna have to shoot yourself. So I feel a lot of that training is really them shooting. You know what I mean? It's really them protecting themselves anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm.
I have a friend who said that his uncle was in law enforcement, or I believe that's what his uncle was in law enforcement, and he said that it's cheaper for them if the person doesn't survive, because if the person survives and they get shot, you have to pay for expenses and you possibly get lawsuits. So it's actually better if the person doesn't make it. I don't know if that contributes to, if that's the mentality of all these officers or more than one.
We're not saying people are in the academy talking about hey, remember, shoot to kill. It's cheaper. We're not saying that, guys.
That'd be wild.
This is just what I was told.
Like, can't broadcast it, but on the way out the door graduating, hey, just remember, shoot to kill.
Is that, you got him in our shoulder? Give me that. What are you doing? You know how much money that is?
That's coming out of the budget. You're taking a pay cut, Johnson.
Johnson. But yeah, that's the ASAP Rocky situation, though. Basically, the next question I want to talk about today is if you could know the absolute and total truth to one question, what question would you ask?
Man. Dang, just one question, huh? That's a hard one. My brain, bro, it'll go through all kinds of rabbit holes and deep, dark stuff that I just wouldn't know the truth about.
What about you, Josh?
Wait, what? Me? I mean, I guess I don't. Life after death, or like, is there life after death? That question. If I have like another question, probably, are we alone?
I thought the question said one question.
I know, but
you want the choice? Like, you don't have the Namekian dragon summoning dragons and stuff.
But I mean, I guess in importance, like, was there life after death, and then are we alone in the universe?
Yeah, that one.
Do you think we are?
No.
You think we're alone in the universe?
No, I don't think we're alone.
I don't either. Because what is it? The Fermi Paradox?
Fermi. Is that what I seen the thing with the chocolate bar and the cutting the chocolate bar?
I don't think
like
that's
infinite chocolate or some shit like that.
No, I'm pretty sure the Fermi Paradox. I want to make sure I'm right.
It's like they cut a piece of a chocolate bar and then put it on the other end of the.
I know what you're talking about, and like every time it's just a little bit.
That one?
Nah.
No.
Okay, yeah. So the Fermi Paradox is like about the probability of there being extraterrestrial life in the universe. So it's named after an Italian-American physicist, Enrico Fermi, and it refers to the apparent contradiction between the lack of evidence for various high probability estimates for the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations elsewhere in the Milky Way galaxy. So that's just a quick definition. That's the first thing I Googled and came up with. But so I think it's improbable that we're the only life in the universe.
Highly.
Because you think about just how expansive the universe is for one, and then like the conditions for life, they've been met here. So why can't they be met elsewhere?
Right. And it's not even how big the universe is, how big the galaxy is. Just that alone.
I thought they discovered either a new universe or a new planet.
Whoa.
With Earth-like conditions.
Oh.
No, not. It was like another universe. I thought they discovered like another universe.
What?
Basically, like either another planet that could potentially be in another universe or something like that. I remember looking at the news. And
So it's no longer a universe, multiverse. Oh, I think that shit real. Bro.
We used to talk about this all the time.
Man. Yo, don't get me started. Y'all can't do this to me right now.
So
Because I go on and on and on.
You subscribe to the multiverse as well?
I don't know, man. But it's some it's some crazy stuff to look into. And, I mean, it makes you question everything you know. Like,
What's so upsetting, so I think the idea of a multiverse is very fascinating just because, like, all the fiction that we read, like, there's so many multiverses today. So it's like, oh, so what if this, what if that? Like DC and Marvel, for example. Like, there's so many different alternate examples of Superman, different examples of Batman.
Yeah.
So we start to think in just ponder the idea of what if there's alternate universes of us.
bro,
And so,
Mandela Effect.
yeah. We talked about that with KJ, didn't we? And so you're the one who introduced me to it. And then what was the example you used? The Bernstein Bears?
Yeah. You ever heard of that? Bernstein Bears?
Mm-hmm.
What you remember, like, the spelling of it?
Then Kendrick talked about this, right?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talked about this.
It was Bernstein, wasn't it?
Bernstein. I think I remember that's Bernstein.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anywhere, no matter where you look. And, like, a whole bunch of people think that. And it's like, what if... Because you ever heard of Cern in Switzerland? The Large Hadron Collider?
Yeah.
So, theories about that is, well, they came out and said that they were trying to, figure out the scientifics behind black holes and things like that, to that effect. Mm-hmm. So, what if they had experiments going on and it actually messed with the, space-time continuum, and, like, there were switches everywhere, like, all kinds of different switches. And that's why in one universe, people remember it as Berenstain, and another one is Berenstain. And that's why it's a collective memory thing, and not just onesies and twosies here and there.
Yeah.
I be going through some rabbit holes, bro, I'm telling you.
It really does make you wonder. I don't think that's the case.
I don't know, man. They be like, it's a whole bunch of weird stuff about that. Because, like, why is the statue or the emblem for Cern that Shiva god, the goddess of destruction, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? Like,
the
joint with
the Hindu goddess.
Yeah. And then, they did... Man, maybe I just be on YouTube too much just looking at this shit. But psyching myself out. But it was also this super weird dance type of thing that all of the workers inside of there were doing, and they put the video on YouTube. It was like literally a cult type dance stuff.
That was their Christmas party, man.
Was it? It might have been. It was some type of event, but yeah, it was like the opening of something. I don't remember what it was. But they had like the goat and heels and a human body, and it's like a whole lot of symbolism, and it just makes me wonder, like, if I had to know the truth about something, it'd be that shit.
What's the name of what's the name of the building again?
Cern.
Cern?
Yeah. Cern. CERN in Switzerland.
So the question that I would ask, the first question that came to mind was, why am I here? But then I thought, I don't believe in determinism, like predestination. So that would automatically be an invalid question, because there isn't one sole reason for me being here. So that's a stupid question. Like, there's no answer for it, because that's not the case, according to my beliefs. So then I thought about what I asked, because this is like my chance to answer an important question, like the biggest question to get an answer to it. And I came up with, what is after death? What comes after death? Essentially the same thing you came up with. Because that's so much of what the way our lives are geared towards. So, like, most religions, they have a concept of the afterlife. Like, if you even look at, like, we're really familiar with Christianity, because that's what most people subscribe to in the United States. Like, 2017, 70% of people identified as Christian. And so if you look at, for example, Buddhists, they have the reincarnation cycle. That's just as far as removed as those two religions are, both of them have concepts of the afterlife. And even like Native Americans, I don't know if they have it's a specific word for their religion or their belief system, but they had a concept like the ancestors after death, and the animal spirits being reincarnations of their ancestors. So all these cultures have ideas of what the afterlife consists of, but no one has an answer.
Right. And
of course, you can't find the answer because you have to die. You have to die to get these answers. And I would like to get that before them.
You might get it.
Think this. So how would your life change? You had the same question I did. How would your life change if you found out that there was no afterlife?
How would my life change?
Yeah. The way you live and the way you think, your belief system. If you found out for a fact that there was no afterlife,
probably wouldn't change that much, to be honest with you.
Why not?
Because I kind of don't think there will be afterlife. If there is a afterlife, it's probably like reincarnation, like you're literally reborn again as somebody else in the future.
Do you think there's afterlife?
I think it's something. I don't know. I don't think that's just like you
answer.
Dead and.
That's a broad answer. I think there's something.
I know. That's all I can. That's a hard question.
I mean, but the answer
so
you can't be
like
wrong.
A banana, like, so what do you mean?
I don't think it's just blackness. I think it's, I don't, like you were talking about reincarnation, right? And that made me think of this story I had heard about. Maybe I seen a video or something on it. But it was this kid, right? Young kid, and he was telling his mom how he had died in a fire in Chicago, and he's never been to Chicago or nothing like that, but he knows exact dates, names, and everything. And then doing more research on the story that he was telling, there actually was a fire at that specific location, and like those names and people died and shit like that.
So he actually like remembered.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know. I have a strong belief that the universe is alive. If the universe is real, and we just all part of it, like, you know. And once we die, we get recycled some way or another and used.
Two things about that.
What?
So, if he had those experiences, and in fact those experiences are true, he in fact was reincarnated from the person who died in that fire, right? So,
Okay, really?
if all lives participate in that reincarnation cycle, shouldn't we all have those experiences?
Well, what if?
As far as like remembering,
Yeah, shouldn't we all have those experiences?
not necessarily.
Why
That could
wouldn't
be
we?
like one random instance of him.
What's the likelihood of that? We just talked about the idea of there being infinite universes out there, the multiverse theory. Because what's the probability that we're the only ones? And then in this specific case, now it's answers where
Are
he's
you
just,
talking about as far as the multiverse? Or
no, I'm saying like earlier we all agreed on the probability there probably is other life out there.
Mm-hmm.
There's more than likely a chance of that. But now you're saying that in this instance where the child is the only person that was reincarnated and has memories, then they're just an outlier. You don't think that that'd be a repeating thing, or other people would experience that?
As far
I
as
think other people have experienced it.
You don't think most of us would have experienced that?
Nah.
Why not?
If it's, technical terms, a glitch.
Okay.
I feel like you're trying to ask us to explain something that hasn't been explained yet.
No, I want an explanation behind your thought process to see what you think. I'm not asking for an answer from you. 'Cause this is all hypothetical stuff. We don't know.
All apples supposed to grow on a tree round, but then what if you get this, messed up one that just grows elongated?
It could be that extinguished circumstances, like if those people who are Christian who actually did talk to God, those random he didn't talk to everybody, he just talked to that one person, it could be that instance, it just depends. Like that one person could have actually remembered his death because something actually happened after death, the way he died or something like that. Just it could have happened,
Yeah.
but it could just be that one person.
And the second part to that is,
If it's true, of course.
yeah, if it's true. And the second part to that is, so there are more people alive on the planet now than at their point in time, right? Like, what's the number? It's over 7 billion. Because 7 billion people, we've been saying there's 7 billion people on the planet for years now. Like, it's 2 or 3 years. So it's more than 7 billion people. So where's that life coming from? Because if life follows the same rules through reincarnation as matter or energy, can neither be created nor destroyed, it's just reciprocal, recycled, then where's all these extra lives coming from? Like, is everybody coming from prehistoric ferns that died?
No, that's a good point.
God can create more lives, though, maybe for some type of purpose. You know what I mean? Okay, I'm thinking in a whole different rationale.
You are.
By the way.
You are.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, God can create more lives. That's the short answer to that.
Okay, so you're saying that. I'll put that on the back burner.
You should have asked that in school. I bet it would have threw them science teachers off
That
when
got
they
me
say
kicked out.
matter can neither be created nor destroyed.
Why did you go to a religious school?
No, we went to a country high school, and I think
so.
that would have caused somebody's head to explode. Makes my head want to explode right now thinking about it. But just the idea, if matter is neither created nor destroyed, same thing with energy, and there's more life now. So if you think about reincarnation, where are those lives coming from? And like I said, are we all prehistoric ferns? Like, where did everybody come from? I don't find it to be probable.
Man, I didn't thought about so many different routes. Like, I didn't thought, what if we're an experiment put here and they just looking at us? What if we on the verge of figuring it out and we about to get destroyed because we ain't supposed to? We supposed to stay like rats, confused.
Wait, you said what?
Oh. Like, what if we so close to figuring it out, but we're not supposed to? We supposed to stay like in our experimental state, I guess. And that's why all this crazy shit happening.
I think we've given ourselves too much credit.
What do you mean?
Because we don't really know shit.
Huh?
Because we don't really know nothing.
Yeah.
I think so too, honestly.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, to think that we're about to crack like the the equivalent of the Rosetta Stone for the universe. Like, no, I don't believe that. We're nowhere near that.
You're no fun.
Yeah, he's no fun.
I'm sorry I don't have my tinfoil hat on.
Or what if everybody's belief is their own truth?
and everybody has their own personal.
Yeah, they experience their own
life
thing
experience.
once they're gone.
So if you don't believe in afterlife, there's nothing.
Yeah,
And if you do,
exactly.
that's funny. But then, how would that? Who created that system?
No, I'm saying
Who implemented that?
I'm saying like
No, I'm saying if that was true,
Give us
then
free will.
There was someone. Yeah.
Give it consequences for our actions.
And then what if somebody says like they don't want to believe in hell?
He
and
believes
then,
that in the afterlife there'll be nothing but rats surrounding him. Okay, it's whatever. You got it.
you watch Dragon Ball Super, right?
Yeah.
Did you see when Frieza was in hell and his hell was he had all those stuffed animals and stuff jumping around? He was in a cocoon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So Frieza's, you know what Frieza is,
Yeah.
right? He's the biggest villain in Dragon Ball Z history, and so his hell was him in a cocoon with all these like stuffed animals and fairies and stuff, like all this cute kitty stuff, and it was just torture. But so my question also in the vein of reincarnation. So if you were to be reincarnated, what would you want to be reincarnated as?
As far as this person or animal, you mean, or
Anything.
anything?
An animate object. Like something that's living. Don't say like a book or a Volkswagen.
I was gonna say some funny shit.
A remote. I don't know. Just another person. You know. I can't. It's
What
like,
person?
It's
Like
any person.
a person where?
Like a geographical location.
Yeah.
Just another Chinese person. I don't know.
I chance.
You think you're the Avatar or something?
Only be that outlier like Yao Ming, 7'6". So I don't know what you mean.
Well, he already exists. He's already been reincarnated for something else. So you would want to be an Asian basketball player. Right? Like, okay, cool. I dig it. What about you?
If we could get rid of poachers, I want to come back as a lion.
I wouldn't even want to.
YOLO.
Because some things are like the life cycle of a lion is vicious. Like I saw I watched Animal Planet a lot. Like I grew up on it. I was absolutely like animal freak. I wanted to be Steve Irwin with a little bit of pigmentation. But lions, they're just vicious. Like even like the alpha lion, like the head one of the pack. Well, there's only like one or two males that rule the pack, the pride. But towards the end of their life, even when they're the head of it, they have to fight off younger lions, and then they get torn. They get torn to shreds. So I thought about things like that, but then again, like it's a cycle of life. Everything has parts like that. Everything dies. It is not always pretty, but.
And aside from the pain part of it, but I mean, if that's what you see, like, because you know they don't know nothing about being a human. That's just their life, the way they live. So it's normal to them. Just imagine that though. You're like, okay, wait till these young try me out now. Bro, I'm telling you, that'd be a hardcore lifestyle.
The most vicious lion video I saw was these older lions, or these younger lions. They jumped this older lion, and he had his genitals ripped off, and they just tore him to shreds.
Oh nah, see they know.
So yeah, a lion is off the table for me. My answer is gonna be somewhat obvious if you know me. I said apple tree.
You're born.
I can share my fruit with the world. I mean, apple trees, aside from I guess getting fire, blight, bacterial infections that could kill them, and people eating the fruit, pruning them every now and then. It's like a haircut, I assume. But not like a lion getting your junk ripped off. And I'd definitely say it's more for me at least, it's more fun to be an Asian basketball player.
If it is true, I'm just like, because what you said made sense too. Like how is it possible if we don't have the same amount of people being reincarnated over and over and over again? Mm-hmm. How is we up to 7 billion plus people now? I guess, okay, think of what if like every living thing, even like a blade of grass, put that into the count too?
Well, yeah, I was taking that into consideration, but that means that everybody on this planet would have to have came from a blade of grass.
No, it don't. You have humans, you have blades of grass, you have all kinds of species of animals
predating humans. So I'm saying all of like the most primitive form of life, for example.
All right, let me ask you this: do you believe that there's Actually, I know you're religious, right?
Go ahead and ask.
All right, so you believe there's an intelligent design, right?
There's strong arguments for it. I can't prove nor disprove it.
What do you believe?
I don't know what I believe that I'm here. Solipsism, the belief that
Killed my whole argument.
All that I can confirm is that I'm here and that I'm real.
I can dig it.
I mean, of course, I think that you guys are real, but the only thing that I know for a fact, like if you break things up into things that you know 100% fact and then things that you believe, like you can make up theories and say other people aren't real, but you can't make up a theory and say that you aren't real because you exist yourself. You have a level of consciousness.
True.
But no, go ahead with your religious argument.
No, you killed it. Because if you was gonna say yeah, then I was gonna say it would have, like, we didn't have to come from a blade of grass per se. Like, it was just intelligent design getting additions as time went on.
Or just getting like modules added.
Yeah. Not saying like
It's basically
adding bodies.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like we didn't come from a blade of grass, you know what I mean? Not adding bodies, but just make it like combining the two. If you have control over everything, if you're the, you know.
So what do you two think about intelligent design? Because so on that topic, I find it very probable because for a few examples, so like evolution, for example, we think that animals, they through continued procreation, that certain features and behaviors that are advantageous to the species, they reciprocate and become more prominent, right? That's what evolution is. Survival of the fittest. That's natural selection. But so there's some species, I've seen this one example on like the Joe Rogan podcast, they were talking and they were showing off this snake, and the snake has this piece on his tail and it looks like a spider, and it's like it actually has the prongs like legs, and it looks like an actual spider on the end of on the snake's tail. And what the snake does, it lays in waits and it wags its tail, and when the birds come to get the spider, the snake will strike and eat the bird. So I was thinking, like, if you think about like evolution, how intricate does the evolution have to be in order to produce something like that? So you mean to think that the original snake with that tail had maybe like one deviation, it might have one prong on it, and then like it bred with another one and another one and another one. But what's the likelihood of that resulting in something that looks like a spider? And out of all things, because a spider is actually another organism, so what would have to take place to recreate something that resembles another organism on the body of a snake? And I don't find it to be probable. And there's other examples like that in the animal kingdom as well. So example, like hawk moths or any kind of moths with faces on them. What are the odds of, like, without a doubt, there's different deviations of what a animal could look like different patterns, and that through reproduction they can be more prominent or less prominent because they're advantageous or not. But what's the likelihood that it perfectly resembles something else, like a tiger's face or
I don't think,
or
man,
a hawk?
I wouldn't even put evolution in a conversation with intelligent design.
I mean, because it goes down to, in creationism versus evolution, they've been at odds for as long as
I know.
they've been concepts.
I don't know, man. Like, I'm leaning towards because I think intelligent design is coming from somewhere. I mean, that's why I was saying, like, the universe is, I think it's real. Like, it's a living entity, and it just, it fixes itself to how it needs to be whenever it's, nature calls for it. Because, I mean, not even that much, but have you ever heard of the Fibonacci Sequence?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and if when you apply that to flowers and stuff,
the petals,
like
and seeds.
Yeah, it's like the perfect amount of light they get from being in that design or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's evolutionary.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So, like, there's certain things that it seems to be too perfect.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Just if you look at just like a human body, for example, how intricate we are, to where, like, just now, with me moving my hand, electrical signals from my brain, they move down the nerves, down my spinal cord, into my arm, and like even before I knew that I was doing this consciously, well, I don't know whether it was conscious or not, but even before my body was moving, the signal was already sent. So just the fact that I'm able to do something that intricate, like to replicate that, like in a lab or something like that, that's something really complex. It's not something you can do with ease. Like, it's too perfect to just have occurred by accident.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't know, man.
I want to ask, well, Okay, well, I think you basically explained it. But if we actually, honestly, that's a different topic. If you want to go into creationism versus evolution,
It is.
That is a different topic. So
It's actually on the sheet.
I know it's on the sheet.
Okay.
I'll probably put it on the sheet. I know it's on the sheet.
Go back and look at the edits. I guarantee I put it there.
Oh, okay. I mean, I knew it was on the sheet though. That's the point. But that's really a different topic, honestly. If you want to go really deep into that, but I was gonna ask, why didn't you think it was really part of intelligent design, evolution?
Well, the way I learned about evolution, because I didn't go to college or nothing, so I might be ignorant on the subject. Is people came from monkeys, apes, or something like that, I guess, and as time went on, they just started adapting themselves to different things as the world changed, I guess. I don't know.
You got the short version. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
I disagree with that. Like, so
if you explain it right now, then I might change my answer. So
that's what I hope to do. So most people have the misconception about evolution because the way that I seem to be most probable to me is that, of course, humans. Well, I assume that humans had a common ancestor with apes. It's not like we didn't evolve from like chimps that we see in like the Congo or anything like that. We didn't evolve directly from them. Our common ancestor is no longer alive. So anytime you see like the diagrams in like the old textbooks, like it's a curve, right? And it has forks that come off of it. So at this point in time, this branched off, this branched off, this branched off. That's why I believe people forget that. That's how things are organized. At least when evolution is laid out, and they just assume that. Like they play too much Pokemon and they think that Charmander, Charmeleon, Charizard, like that kind of evolution applies to humans, and I don't think that's the case. I think that we diverged rather than for us to just be spawning, or like a couple of chimpanzees that had like a high nutrient diet and their brains were better developed and they reproduced and went off on their own and then they became people. I don't believe that.
Like I said, evolution, creationism, we can definitely talk about another
Christianism.
episode. Creation. We can definitely talk about another episode, and I definitely want you to join us on the episode. But as far as you said, so much that we don't know. Is it really okay for us really to know something that is really impactful? Is something like, well, not really, are we alone in the universe? Because that might be not as impactful. Well, maybe. Who knows? But something that's impactful, do you guys think that's really healthy for us to know? Like, if there's a life after death, you think that wouldn't cause some type of panic in a way?
Oh, yeah, I think it would.
Well, that's kind of getting at what I asked you about the afterlife. Would you change your life accordingly? So you're asking would...
No, you said just me, though.
Right.
I mean, what do you think everybody else would do, though?
On the subject of life in the universe, or
any impactful thing. We can go. You can start at that.
It would change the direction of humanity. Like if we, but then again, you think about, for example, the afterlife. So if people knew for a fact that heaven and hell were both real, I still believe people end up in hell. I still believe they would. Like just because people know that something's real doesn't mean they behave.
Prison is real. People still end up in prison.
Exactly. Exactly.
Just because their consequences don't mean people won't actually end up with those bad consequences.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
But in terms of, let's say, back to your example of like extraterrestrial life or us not being alone in the universe, then I believe, kind of like we had the Great Space Race, it'd be
great extraterrestrial
like all the different nations trying to collaborate and trying to like send radio signals out, which they are doing. We send out signals and look for responses, but trying to communicate with other universes.
Well, I feel that could definitely be an option. I feel one of the other things will probably create more panic. Because we all have all these movies already that alien invasions will probably try to beef up our defenses.
But they're so off the radar.
But still, I still feel like we'll try to beef up our defenses or something like that. If that could be after we try to have some type of contact with them, and we have some type of contact with them. But I still feel due to the history, especially with movies, that we'll still try to go the defensive route.
Yeah.
Either
just for human nature.
Yeah.
Well, we're used to being the apex predator.
Yeah, that too. So it was like, oh hell, there's somebody else in the universe. Let's spend another $1 billion on defense. we gotta do something. Yeah,
Look, cut all the art programs. No more colored pencils.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll probably do the draft again. I don't know, but who knows? Yeah.
Deuces. Peace.
But yeah, we would our livelihood would probably feel threatened because, like you said, we're the apex, and we just don't. we can't feel. We would feel threatened if somebody else else out there. Basically.
I'm not too optimistic on our diplomacy either
Why you say that?
with another planet.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you think about, so aside from the current state of the United States, most people, they would immediately draw that that would come to mind when I just brought that up. But thinking about how is the world? Who would be the representative of it? How is the world run? So who would be the representative body to speak on behalf of the planet?
Where would they land?
Probably just beam us up. Be real.
Like the alien planet would be elected bodies to speak on behalf of, like,
Yeah, I'm saying one nation is not going to be representative of the whole planet.
Yeah, that would cause problems.
Yeah. So for us to be diplomatic and have somebody to speak, like how would that work? Would we have a council?
Probably we'll have like all the countries will get together and make a decision basically like that.
Yeah, and I'm not too optimistic on that.
Man, I think the next big step though for human civilization is some type of breakthrough.
In terms of what?
Could be
Space.
another race or something. I mean, no matter what it is, it's gonna. I mean, if it's like a worldwide type of impact or worldwide type of breakthrough, it's gonna cause. I mean, it's gonna ruffle feathers here and then, make somebody happy there. And no matter what it is. So unless we're happy being stagnant where we at, then I think that it's probably necessary. Maybe not like this day and time. I mean, because as a world, I know it's some easy steps that we can take to like become better as a planet. Probably won't happen in our lifetime, but like a couple 100 years, we might be where we need to be. I mean, either way, regardless, I think people are going to end up dying, or some people are going to be happy. It might be a war or something, but in order for the next big revelation, whatever it is, I think it's gonna cause something, regardless of what it is.
And I just found a logical inconsistency in my beliefs about the fact that I said I wasn't too optimistic on like diplomacy, because I'm a big advocate for the fact that like society is a iterative process, and we're getting better as time goes on. Like we're learning, and through making mistakes, we're improving each other. So that's a direct contradiction to that. So I kind of a little bit uncertain about how I feel about that now.
I don't know, man. If you look at the news, I wouldn't be optimistic neither. It's we got problems.
I'll have to take some more time to think about that though before I jump to that conclusion.
Yeah. Is there any other question you guys would ask though, other than is there any universe?
What's Cern doing? Is Pizzagate real? Yeah, I got a lot of questions, man.
Does pineapple belong on pizza?
That's not a question.
You talking about like conspiracy?
Yeah.
It is.
I just want to know the truth. Pineapple, of course, it belongs on.
Yeah, of course it is.
It's not bad. I'll probably want to know every governmental conspiracy, to be honest.
Yeah, man.
Every conspiracy.
Governmental conspiracy, yeah.
But okay, would you want to know that personally, or would you?
Personally.
Okay.
I would prefer to know things that would benefit
Then
me.
I'll probably blow my mind though. Oh my god!
Right.
Yo, you wouldn't know. It's not, you don't know what I know.
Get in the bunker.
You don't know what I know, bro.
Yo, but I would prefer to know something that would benefit me personally. So like
it'll benefit my knowledge. But
yeah, about like improving myself, or that would directly affect or impact my life. Like not saying like these big conspiracy and things. Like of course it's really cool to know, but then what do you do with that? Where do you go from there? So I think like, how long am I gonna live, or how do I maximize my life? Like how do I have longevity to where I'm a functioning person? So when I'm maybe if I can live till I'm 200, maybe I have the capacity. How do I do that to where I can function and be a mobile human being versus being like a vegetable or being dependent on other people in a bed?
True.
Like something that directly impacted me. So like how could I more effectively communicate with people to make sure they knew exactly what I meant? Things that I could directly use in my life, like direct application. Because I feel like these hypothetical things are nice to know, but then like where do you go from there?
Bill.
And then kind of like what you said about like the extraterrestrial life and the religious like afterlife concept. So finding answers about that doesn't mean that people are going to necessarily change their lives about that. Maybe you do. But where do you go?
What if those conspiracy theories will help you answer your questions? Because a lot of them is some science behind them.
I was about to say that this is knowledge for yourself. I mean, you was always been speaking for myself, I've always been curious about the world, and that's always been really intrigued me. So knowing that, I mean, that's like fulfilling for myself, you know, because it's like it's that type of knowledge that I didn't know before, you know. It's like new knowledge, so that's why that's fulfilling for me. But you say that you want to do it as far as bettering other people,
myself,
but yourself and other people, right?
I mean, if I'm the best version of myself, other people are direct or indirect beneficiaries by default.
Okay, because I thought you was referring to you was going to like inform people of your discoveries of the question, basically. And but I was about to say like people wouldn't necessarily listen to you. Like
that's what I know.
I want to say like you can teach them about the right way, but that doesn't mean people were like, oh okay, yeah, let's do it. That doesn't mean that.
Doesn't mean I care either.
But I mean, if you better yourself, that makes sense though. I mean,
right.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. Did you? Any other questions? Oh, the conspiracies?
Yeah, those conspiracy questions. Dang. We already went deep into afterlife. I don't have any more questions that can't be looked up.
It's interesting. None of y'all actually said, well, both of y'all didn't actually say the actual question I thought one of you guys want to say is does God exist? I think one of you guys were going to say, ask that question.
That was the implication of the afterlife.
Not necessarily.
Because, well, if you look at I was looking at it from a Christian perspective, like that one. So if heaven and hell are real, they're not unattended. Like
might be a party up there.
You said what?
Might be a party up there.
But I'm saying, I guess that is a.
It's like somebody has to be running the show. Like, you get to the gate, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever. You start with just walk in. Like,
invite only.
Like, am I supposed to be? I forget it.
It's
I got you though.
That would be. I think that's the question. The answer to the question would lead to the same result as if you were to figure out whether the afterlife was real or not.
Saying if God exists, because I mean, knowing God exists though doesn't mean it's afterlife.
No, I'm saying the result would be the same. You'll behave in the same in a very similar way.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
If you knew that per se that God was real and then the afterlife was real, you would behave similarly as if you found out that He didn't exist or that the afterlife wasn't a thing.
Yeah, I got you. But I got you. But yeah, nice episode.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
But before we wrap it up, do you have an album of the week for us?
Yeah, Crit is here. Big Crit.
Big Crit.
Oh man.
That's new album.
I don't think it's really new. I think it
like his latest one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this came out this year, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought it came out this year.
Yeah, I haven't heard it yet, but I'll check it out.
It's bro. I don't skip any tracks on it, and it's hard to say nowadays. Oh man, if I can also throw this out there.
Sure.
Y'all rock with Roddy Ricch?
I heard a song or two by him. Not necessarily.
I think he's pretty cool. He's pretty good.
See, now I take a musical recommendation from you more has more weight than it does. So I'll check him out.
I don't know, man. My taste changed. I hope you're not disappointed.
But yeah, what do you guys think of the questions we asked today, though? What question would you ask as far as for absolute truth? But I want to thank Derrick. Thank you for coming in.
Appreciate it.
Drastic.
Yo, you're Drastic. Of course, come back when we talk about evolution. I'm going to be looking forward to that. But we're going to get out of here. As always, your boy Joshua Freeman. God bless the Bryan Carey. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Look, welcome to the show. Go and take a seat. Let's talk about the world while taking a sip of tea. A bunch of brothers come together. That's something we love to see. The company can't get no better. We come from running the streets, but we here now. The vibes all good. We survived. We gon' try and show the world inside the minds of some visionary brothers. We only got each other. We don't support each other. Ain't nobody gonna love us. We can talk about the violence, the silence, the Mayans, the stake that the minds and the science, defiance, living and dying and laughing and crying, pure bliss and heartache and quitting and trying. That's real from the heart, truth in the art. To come up in the future, we just gotta play our part. Can we handle that? Let them tear us apart. Infusion breakdown show. Go and talk about your thought.